Okay, so we're going to now go into this next side of the haircut, and I wanted to just show you again what we have here, and we're going to now come and create this side, but we're going to use different tools. This is a machine clipper. Everybody's familiar with it. Don't know if you're familiar with this one, but this is what we used to use back in the day, and that was true. This was the beginning of clippers, and this was a hand clipper. So you basically opened and closed your hand, and that would take that blade against that blade, and that's how we went and did clipper cutting back in the day. So that's a little artifact that you can see. We've had that for many, many years, obviously from my uncle's days. Not mine. I'm not that old yet. The reality is the machines are different. Men's hair cutting, there's a couple of different types of machines. There's two major types of clippers. One is a rotary clipper. It means the motor has a rotary motor to it, and it has what we call detachable blades. The most common are the Andis or the Oster for those particular machines. Then there's the magnetic motors, which is this one here, which is a Master Andis. And that is a vibrating or magnetic blade where the motor creates positive and negatives on both sides of this motor, and there's magnets on each side, and then the magnet in the middle, when it's positive, gets pulled to one side, then it turns to positive on the other side, hence pushing or pulling that magnet in the middle from side to side, which creates the side-to-side motion of the blade. When you talk about different machines, you know, when you invest in yourself, when you invest in your tools, I believe that whatever makes you money in your career, you should invest in the proper tools to make you that money. So there's also the combs, which again, we have the small combs or the large combs, and there was a company that back in the day, one of the things I'm going to teach you on this side is that you never do clipper over comb and accidentally have your clipper go below your comb. So a company came up with the idea, oh, well, let's make a comb and let's put a ridge or a bar across the side of the comb, so that when the person goes to do the clipper over comb, they can't accidentally drop their blade below the comb. So they were able to just put the clipper on the comb and glide it with a bar there so they wouldn't accidentally drop it below that comb. That comb didn't last a real long time, but I remember it, and there's many other things I remember in this career that you guys probably will never see again. But hopefully I'll be able to share with you some of the different tools as we go along that have popped up in the past and became very, very popular. So when we talk about clipper over comb, there is a difference. Number one, when you talk about clipper over comb, the first rule that we talked to you guys about, going against growth pattern, that still applies. So whichever way the growth pattern is on straight hair, we want to make sure that we go against the opposite way the hair grows on the individual's head. The second thing is clipper over comb. The second rule still applies, and that is that the comb teeth will always keep tilting out away from the head when you're doing clipper over comb in the exterior of the haircut. Makes sense? Last but not least, this is the only rule that changes when you're doing clipper over comb. And that is when you do clipper over comb, you have to come up with your teeth of your comb, come out with the teeth of the comb, but then you have to stop and then take the clipper across the comb. So there is a stopping motion when you're doing clipper over comb versus scissor over comb. And that's the only rule that changes, is that you must stop that comb to cut that length when you go in and do clipper over comb. So those are the rules for clipper over comb. When you talk about the idea of working with a machine versus a comb, you probably won't see it on a mannequin, but clipper over comb, scissor over comb will always have a softer feeling on a person than the machine cut. The machine cut will always have a stronger, more stern look to the finished product when you do clipper over comb versus scissor over comb. So again, going against growth pattern, teeth out, clipper comes around, off the hair comes, and always making sure never let the bottom of your clipper go below the bottom of your comb. So that's very, very important, because if you do wind up with the clipper bottom going over the base or below the base of the comb, you're going to wind up cutting a hole in the haircut that you're doing. So we're just taking some of that bulk off right now. Going to just check on how high I went on the other side. I don't want to go higher than what I did on the other side. I'm going to leave it for there for now, okay? So, coming in, working with my comb. Again, teeth away. Don't have to worry about the top of the blade. I only have to worry about the bottom of the blade and making sure that it's not going below the base of that comb. So this is the clipper over comb, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come behind the ear, pull that hair out and away, and just cut that short around the ear. Then once I get most of that hair off, I'm going to use my machine and I'll show you how you can clean around behind the ear to make that hair nice and short around the men's haircut. Men do not want to have hairs hanging over their ears or anything like that. So it's super important to take away any long hairs that might be hanging in your short haircuts on a man's haircut, or a woman's for that matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using the edge of my blade. I'm going to be taking this clipper vertically this way, coming up behind the men's haircut, and again folding the ear over if I had that ability, and using just the edge of that clipper to clean around that ear. And I'm making sure I don't go into the man's hairline. We're just taking that off. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up just around the edge here. And there's more detailed cleanup afterwards when we go into detailing and stuff like that. But that's going to be in another session. When I did the scissor over comb, I did the solid form line right there for the sideburn. Here I'm just taking my machine, pressing it against the skin. If your machine is properly maintained, you will not have to worry about nipping anyone on their skin. You could actually put the blade right against your skin without worry of getting cut. So we just clean that sideburn area up. Again, going in vertically, I call it vertically with this machine just to make sure I'm clean around that ear. And now we can go back into our clipper over comb technique, making that shorter. So I want to make sure that this sideburn is the same length as that sideburn. Once I'm satisfied with that, I will then continue upward until I'm satisfied with the haircut on this side. Once I have the length here, I will then go in and I will then clean up my back and then tie it together for you. Because I saw when I turned the mannequin here, I need a little bit more work on this side because I didn't clean it up before with the scissor over comb. Okay, so we're going to continue working clipper over comb, leaving that length in the front. Okay, just going to start to tie it in a little bit. Check the height of the haircut on this side and on this side, and I'm pretty happy with that. I think we're high enough on both sides. Again, don't forget about what I mentioned earlier. Never go beyond, with your clipper over comb or scissor over comb, never go beyond the widest part of the head. If you do, it starts to look like a hat of hair. So we don't want that on our person, and we want to make sure that they are looking, as we say, the norm. Okay, so in the back here, before I go in and tie these two together, I'm going to take my clipper over comb, and you can see me taking this a little bit shorter just to match up what I have on that side. And I'm working with the machine and working across. And I'm going to work this down until I'm satisfied with the back. And I will then go into blending my side into my back. Always leaving a corner. And I don't know if you remember from the previous haircut, but we did do a very square haircut, but a long version. Men's haircuts should be square. I don't feel that you should ever take the corners away unless the client requests that you take the corners away. Because I believe a men's haircut is more masculine looking when you do squarer or keep some corners in a haircut. But then again, you don't have to. Okay, so I'm pretty satisfied with both of those. And we're tied together. Looks like we're even. I'm checking my balance between the guidelines here, making sure I'm satisfied with that. And again, the only difference between that and this, blending it in, I'm looking and I'm stopping my clipper my comb as I take the machine and go across. So it's time now to take this haircut and blend the side length into the back length. So I'm going to turn that slightly this way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work this corner off. And remember, on the other side, we brought this side in quite close. So what I'm going to do here is you could see the haircut's tending to flow away from me. So I'm going to take my clipper comb and I'm going to take it this way and bringing up the side there. So that's going to give me the ability to get tighter right around that hairline, right in the edge there. Okay. Once I'm satisfied with the length blending into my side, now what we're going to do is we're going to come from behind the ear, again with the teeth away from the head, work that comb in. And just to make sure that we're balanced with the other side, I'm going to switch combs here for just a moment. Same thing applies, but I have a much smaller area to work on. Make sure the bottom of that blade never goes below the edge of that comb when you're working. But just in the interior here, I want to get just a little bit more of a blend. Okay, now I can go back to my other comb, work that corner off, blending it in, and again, look at my guidelines. See where I'm looking? Making sure that this short area and this short area connect together. There's a bump in the middle, take it off. Take it off, take it off, take it off. As you see my comb, what am I doing with my hand that's holding the comb? I'm holding the comb on the handle, but I'm using my pinky and my fingers to hold against the person's head so I can keep my comb nice and solid. If I'm just trying to hold the comb out in the air, it's going to be wobbly. So I want to make sure that I just put my pinky there and I'm holding that comb and using the person's anatomy to hold and control that comb as it goes across. See how we're doing here and see how we're balanced. Got a little bit more to take off. Right in that corner there. Here's where we get into the detailed part of this hair cutting. Again, clipper over comb technique you got to get good at just by doing it over and over and over again. I'm pretty happy with the way that side is blending with my back. Just going to check it one more time right behind the ear here, looking for the guideline. Remember, we're slightly longer in the back and slightly shorter on the sides. So we want to make sure that we are blended together. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do this side just like we did in the previous haircut. We did this with clipper over comb. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be doing my layering on this side with my clipper over comb technique. And just as we did with the scissor over comb, I'm going to start in the back and I'm going to make sure I take that bulkiness right there out of the way. You could see where my corner is and where I have to blend it with the length on that side. So by coming straight up with my comb, again, teeth do not have to come away at this point, coming straight up, we're going to just start taking this down, working with the clipper straight across that haircut. And again, taking that hair shorter and shorter and shorter. I am not following the shape of the head in any way. I am simply following by going straight up with this comb, taking that bulkiness out of this haircut. Okay, now we're going to go to the side. Again, the comb is straight up. Using my pinky to try and support that comb as we go. Riding that clipper, blending the front hair into the side hair, keeping that comb going straight up, not following the shape of the head. And this is how barbers work all day long. They don't use their fingers to hold their projection. They simply use the machine and their comb to project the hair. Just as we did in the back area. Oh, a little bit more right here. Okay, so now what we're ready to do is we're actually going to come in and we're going to take this from this area and we're going to bring it up to the top area. So I'm going to take this up and I'm going to be cutting the hair off through the top area, but again, keeping that square. Bringing it up, using the guideline from the other side, there it is, taking this hair off, and again, lifting it up, taking that hair off. So what we're doing is we're creating a 90-degree straight up, and this was straight back, creating that corner in the haircut. I'm going to do that through the side area now here as well, picking it up because we already did the length on the side. And here you could see me picking the hair up and taking it off. So again, taking that hair up, following the guideline from there, taking that hair off. We're just lifting this up to 90 degrees. By pulling it back slightly, I'm actually creating a little bit more length in the top. And what you see me do now is pick that comb up and looking for my guideline that I did with the scissor over comb on this side. We're just lifting that hair up and taking it and blending it with the length we did on that side. So again, you could create layers with the clipper over comb or the scissor over comb technique. It's just a matter of where you're working on the head and the technique in which you're using. So I'm taking this hair up. I'm making sure that the length is the length that I want based on where my comb is and away from the head. And then taking it and using the machine across. So we're pretty much done with this haircut. I'm pretty happy with it. I do want to blow dry it for you guys just so you could see the difference. I think we got a little bit more length in the back there. We're going to just check that to make sure they blend. You could see your guideline as I pick up the comb through the hair. You could see that straight line. Okay, as I do this, it's just like cutting hair with your fingers. It's just different because you're using the comb to hold the hair up in projection wise. And again, you are taking and doing a straight line. So as I do this, you could see we got this square haircut and we got a longer top into a shorter bottom. Okay, everybody, so this is the end of our session today. I just wanted to put a little bit of product in my hand and I wanted to just create a little bit of a texture for the guy in his haircut and stuff like that. Just spike it out a little bit, make it a little messy, a little tousled, so that he can wear it any way he wants. But this is the final version of the haircut I wanted to do for you today. I hope you took something away from it to actually utilize in your skill sets and in your ways of cutting hair. So the idea of doing this for you guys, I appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you again in future videos.